Hello again, welcome back. Got another stack of recent record finds and spins to share with you all. Taking it outside again as it's a beautiful sunny day. We've been having a bit of a mini heat wave here, but it's supposed to cool off a bit. There's kind of a nice breeze today. First off, I was at my second record fair of the season. There won't be any more until the fall. I found only reggae there. Kind of didn't really see any non-reggae that didn't appeal to me too much, or did appeal to me too much. First off, if you saw my Frankie Paul tribute video, you'll know this guy. I found another one by him to add to the collection. This one is called Ripe Mango. Frankie Paul, often referred to as Jamaica's Stevie Wonder. You can see my video for more info on him, but this is on the Blacker Dread label out of the UK. Not quite sure the date of this one. Some sources have it as 1992. While others have it as these tracks being recorded at various points in the 80s, which kind of seems more likely to me, as some of them have a quite digital sound, which started in 1985, and some have more of a live instrument sound, including some that sound quite a bit like Dennis Brown, who was an influence on Frankie Paul. So one more for the Frankie Paul collection. This is a guy I did not have any LPs by yet. Found one by him, Charlie Chaplin. This is called Chaplin Chant. This is from 1982. It's a very early set by this Jamaican DJ. It's on the Tomoki Wambisi label, produced by Roy Cousins. Roy Cousins was a member of a Jamaican roots reggae vocal group called The Royals, and turned to producing. Very excellent productions. Always took time and care with his productions. The quality always comes through in the music, and that's a great DJ set from Charlie Chaplin there. Only his second or third album, I believe. I found two by the great DJ Prince Farai, Michael Williams. He had a voice like an Old Testament prophet, I've always heard him called to. Very gruff, rock stone voice. Apparently he was a bit of a gentle soul in person. He was brutally murdered in the early 80s. He was quite closely associated with Adrian Sherwood and On You Sound. I found two UK releases from him. One is called Jamaican Heroes. This is from 1980 on the classic orange and white Trojan label. Very excellent, hard-hitting roots DJing here. Prince Farai's lyrics were always 100% righteous on serious topics. He didn't hold with talking about foolishness on the mic. And it's basically Roots Radix on here, Sly and Robbie as well on bass and drums on some tracks. And the other one is one of his other nicknames, LP aptly called Voice of Thunder. This is from a year later, 1981, and also on Trojan. Prince Farai discography is coming along. I'm picking up a few by him here and there. Speaking of Sly and Robbie, I found one by them. This is a dub album called Gambler's Choice. Early 80s on this one, I believe. It's on their own Taxi label. And this is kind of the early Taxi sound, some of their early productions as they were moving from working with Black Uhuru and producing other artists. You've even got kind of an early US style rap track on here. No idea on who's doing the rapping, but it's very much in the US style. And the rest is kind of dub in the Sly and Robbie sound of the period, with kind of syndrum and fairly restrained mixing, focusing on the rhythm. One last one from the record fair. Another guy whose discography I'm slowly plugging away at. Bob Marley and the Wailers. This is one called Rasta Revolution. Almost mint condition on this one. It's on the Blue Trojan label. Originally came out in 1974. It's more or less the same as the Soul Rebels LP, which came out in 1970. So you got tracks like Mr. Brown, Soul Rebel itself, Duppy Conqueror, a couple of track listing alterations from the original Soul Rebels, Soul Almighty, but just crucial productions where the Wailers started working with Lee Perry. Some call it the greatest work they ever did. Getting into some record store finds. This is another reggae one. Another one on Trojan, actually. The Pioneers. First LP in my collection from them. I'm going to knock on your door. This is early 70s, I believe. 73 or 74. Classic orange and white Trojan. Once again, check out these guys' fashion style there. The Pioneers were a group led by Sidney Crooks. They had quite a few hits in Jamaica, and especially in the UK where they were very successful. They increasingly went in kind of a commercial sound. This is quite soul influence. There's a little bit of calypso influence on here as well, but very good stuff there. This one I found at an antique mall just down the road from me. It was really cheap. One I'd never heard of, Blondell. The group is called Amazing Blondell. Nice gatefold on here. Cover's got a bit of wear, but the vinyl's in pretty decent shape. Still got original Island inner sleeve here, and it is on the pink rim Island. This is in that UK folk rock blend that you get in the early 70s, that pastoral kind of sound. I'm kind of getting a taste for that kind of style right now. Every summer I seem to go through a phase where I really get into one sound, and that pastoral British folk rock blend might be the one for this year. Last stop for me, I went into the city this one day and hit a couple of record stores. I really lucked out at one of the last stops I made where they have these cheap bins. Usually everything is kind of $5 and under. I hit it at the right time that day. I got some great stuff. I've been looking out for this LP. These guys I showed previously where I found one of their 12-inch singles or EPs. It is Blue Northern. They were a early 80s Canadian band based out of Western Canada. That's on Polydor. This is 1981. This is their sole LP. I have actually two versions of the 12-inch they issued, one on black vinyl and one on blue. But they were kind of a country rock band, and they included Billy Cowsill, who is a member of the child group The Cowsills in the late 60s. The Partridge Family TV show was based on their career. Apparently he got booted out of the group for being caught by his dad smoking marijuana or something, and moved to Canada, where he lived in my city for a while. Lived in, I believe, Edmonton, and passed away several years ago. But that's some very good country flavored rock. There's a bit of commercial kind of early 80s rock, and even a bit of power pop on there. Next up, Diodato Prelude. CTI. You always find these things in really good shape for some reason. The owners must have taken care of them. This was the biggest seller for the CTI label. It had the hit called Also Sprech Zarathustra, aka the theme from 2001, done in Eumir Diodato's kind of orchestral jazz funk style. Insane lineup of players on here. John Tropea has some smoke and rock guitar licks. You've got Ron Carter on bass, also Stanley Clark on Zarathustra, Billy Cobham on drums, Airto Moreira on percussion, and Ray Barretto on congas. What can you say about that? Crazy lineup of players. Still in the cheap bins, Shirley Ellis in The Name Game, mono copy, beautiful condition, still in shrink. That's on Congress. You probably know that Name Game song. It was kind of a novelty song for her, but she's also got her first big hit, The Nitty Gritty, on here, and just some cool early R&B. You got Stagger Lee, Kansas City, CC Rider, some great cover songs on there. It gets a little jazzy at times too. Still in the cheap bins, this is one I'd never seen or heard of before, but it is Disinherited by Ragni Rado and Galt McDermott. They are, of course, the composers behind the Hair soundtrack, and this is what's described as a bonus trip. There's the full gatefold there. You can see that. With the kind of cast and crew on here. Melba Moore is on here. But these are all songs from scenes and versions of the play that didn't make it into kind of the final version of the soundtrack that everybody probably knows if you've seen the movie or know the play. So very similar style to a lot of those songs, and all the songs are in character as the characters from the play, Burger and Claude and all those characters. So that was an interesting find I'd never seen before. This one, Bertha. early all-female group, gatefold pressing on ABC Dunhill. Another cheap bin find, 1973 on this one. These girls were kind of blues rock. There's a bit of southern rock on here on the song called Freedom. Sounds a bit like Lynyrd Skynyrd to me. And some more acoustic type stuff on here. Very decent rock album. Wouldn't quite call it a classic, but very, very good. This is one I spotted in the cheap bins. I didn't know anything about it. It's obviously a reissue. It is Agua Turbia, Volume 2. Obviously a second album from them. And includes a booklet with their whole history. They were a psychedelic blues rock band from Chile. The main focus of the group was the lead guitarist and his wife, who is the lead singer. Very Jefferson Airplane-ish at times. The name translates as troubled water. You have the kind of religious imagery on the cover here. They were kind of out to court controversy at a time when hippie psychedelic music was probably not very accepted in their country. Moving on, this is one I did have on an RCA Victor pressing, Wheatfield Soul by the Guess Who, but this one is actually on the Nimbus label. So I snatched that one up. Classic, essential album from them. Haven't listened to all these, so I'm going to keep my comments brief. Free Live. I don't have any Free in my collection. Other than All Right Now, I don't know too much about them. It's on that early Island label there. 1974 on that one. The Hollies, Bus Stop. Never see Hollies records around my area, except maybe the greatest hits or something. Capital Rainbow, very decent shape. All these were about $5 or less. I think the most expensive one from those cheap bins was the Agua Turbia. I think that was $7. Getting into some heavy psych hitters here. Electric Prunes, Underground. I do not have any extra Electric Prunes albums in my collection as yet, other than the Too Much to Dream Last Night single. Just don't see them around. Certainly not for this cheap. These are not in mint condition, of course. I'm not the mint condition guy, but as long as they're decent playing condition, I'm perfectly happy with these. Might need a bit of cleaning, but very decent playing copies here. I feel it's sort of an honor to own these things that have been from that time and belonged to people who played those records and enjoyed them. This one I was totally stoked to find. I see these guys shown in the VC quite a bit. Ultimate Spinach, Behold and See, $5. Very decent condition on MGM label. Haven't listened to that one yet. I'm going to be on the lookout for their first one now. And last up, this was actually from another store I stopped at, but it was in the same price range as these last ones I've showed you. Incredible String Band, the 500 Spirits, or the Layers of the Onion. Gold Electra label, and even still includes Electra inner sleeve. One other LP by them. I found them a bit of a struggle to get into. Kind of British folk, definitely with a Celtic flavor, and then psychedelic as well. So stoked to have that. Absolutely gorgeous cover artwork, of course. So that's what I've got for you today, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Cheers and take care.